So, this is our semester project part 2. The scenario is Mrs. Anderson is a second grade teacher in an urban community of California. One of her students, Robbie, is a Muslim boy who doesn't seem to have many friends in the class. He's rather shy and keeps to himself. Some of the students in the class have a hard time reaching out towards Robbie to help him feel more welcome. One day when Mrs. Anderson had the students working on a group project for language arts, she overheard two of her students, Chris and Drew, saying to Robbie, "Go back to where you came from. You're not smart and we don't want your help." Mrs. Anderson was overcome by what she heard from this table. She quickly realized action needed to be taken to combat the situation. Part 1 of the solution is communication with the victim of bullying, or in this case it's Robbie. This is the conversation between Mrs. Anderson and Robbie, the student. "Robbie, I overheard what Chris and Drew were saying to you. Can we talk about it?" "Yeah, they are always saying mean things to me, and I don't like working in the same group with them." "I'm sorry they are treating you that way. Would you like me to move you to a different group?" "Yes, please. I like working with Tommy and Peter better." "Okay, we will get you over to a new group. Thank you for telling me how you feel." Part 2 of the solution is communication with the causing students, which in this case are Drew and Chris. This is the conversation between Mrs. Anderson and Drew and Chris that happens during recess. "Chris and Drew, will you tell me what was happening today during language arts?" "Robbie was being so slow and it was annoying." "Yeah, he shouldn't be here if he can't work like us." "I appreciate the work you do in class. However, I believe that it was you two who were unable to work well together this time. If you cannot work together with others, I will move you to 2 separate groups. And you won't work together any more this year. How would it feel if you didn't get to work with others who like you?" "It wouldn't feel very good." "I have moved Robbie to a different group for this project, and you will have Alice as a partner instead. If you can work well as a group, I will keep the 2 of you together. But if not, I will have to separate you. What will you choose to do?" "We will work good together this time." "Good. I am looking forward to seeing your group do well together." Some of the important points of this part of the solution is 1. Mrs. Anderson already acted. She moved Robbie to a different group, and she then states the consequence if they aren't able to work well again with another student. And lastly, she asserts positive expectations to both of the students who have a problem with bullying. Part 3 of the solution is contacting both sets of parents. This is the conversation between Mrs. Anderson and Mrs. Abdullah, which is Robbie's mother. "Hello, Mrs. Abdullah. This is Mrs. Anderson, Robbie's second grade teacher. I am calling to inform you of a situation that happened during our language arts time today." "Okay, what is the issue?" "I'm sorry to inform you that 2 other students working in Robbie's group said some hurtful comments towards your son. Well, Robbie did mention that a few kids were being mean to him at school today when he got home. I am very sorry that this happened. I spoke with both of the students involved. I also spoke with Robbie during lunchtime today. I will make sure that this issue is resolved and that it won't happen again. Tomorrow our class will have a lesson on respecting others and countering bullying behavior." "That would be appreciated. Thank you for the call. Please keep me updated." In contacting both Drew and Chris's parents, we decided to stick with only one of them for this presentation, and that is Drew's mother, which is Mrs. Grayson. This is the conversation between Mrs. Anderson and Mrs. Grayson. "Hello, Mrs. Grayson. This is Mrs. Anderson, Drew's second grade teacher. I am calling to inform you of a situation that happened today during our class time." "All right, what happened?" "We had a situation where there was name-calling and disrespectful behavior towards another student in the class. Have you had any experiences with this at home with Drew?" "Well, Drew has had a problem with his younger siblings. Every so often, he's been name-calling and complaining about them. I think he is struggling with feeling like he isn't getting enough of my attention. I will talk to him about what happened at school today." "Thank you very much. Tomorrow I will address bullying with the students. I will keep you updated with how Drew is improving at school." "Thank you. Have a good day." The last part is probably the most important part of the solution, and that is teaching the students how to combat bullying in class. by teaching them specific phrases of what they can say when they see bullying going on. Here are some of the phrases to consider teaching students to counter bullying. This classroom is a no bullying zone. Bullies lose in the end. Bullying isn't cool. Think before you speak. Overall, teach the students that there is no tolerance for bullying in your classroom and that there will be consequences. This has been our semester group project part 2. Thank you.